Hello and welcome back, guys, to the League of Legends 4 PL Play for Fame Kaostv Vengeance Cup September Qualifiers number 4. I am Pulse, your host, and we have Luna versus LLeague for the round 2. And that was an absolutely crazy first game. I had no idea it was going to run on for an hour. Absolutely amazing. But the first ban will be Diana once again, which is kind of interesting. I might go ahead and ask them about that for next round. And Jace will be the next ban champion. And yeah, Jace is just really bannable right now. He's really strong in that top lane. And last game we saw him in that sort of bruiser role down the bottom. He's kind of fulfilling that sort of AD carry role, but still being a bruiser inherently. We'll have Rumble as the next pick. And just waiting for the next ban from LLeague will be Rengar. Rengar, yeah, again, we were talking about this last game. He is absolutely insane right now. That small quality of life fix on like all of his skills and just some of his mechanics just made him absolutely ridiculous. Ahri will be the next ban out. Again, Ahri is always going to be that super, really, it's always going to be a strong AP carry basically. Got the mobility, got the roaming capability, and she's just straight up strong in that mid. Rumble again still has a really high win rate. I know in solo queue and platinum it's like 60% still, and over like a monthly basis. So Rumble's really strong, but interesting as a ban, especially when there's a couple other bans which could potentially cause some issues. But Ezreal will be banned out as the last one because Ezreal is considered widely to be the best AD carry at the moment. So banning that one out makes a lot of sense. And basically just waiting for these picks from Luna. And first pick will be Skarner. Okay, Skarner really transitions well into that mid game, so you can get that impale, really strong ganks when he hits 6, absolutely ridiculous. Basically, it's a suppress where he can carry on moving, so you can put someone out completely out of position, and he can chain his Qs as well. If he lands one Q before he ult, and then lands another Q, they're slowed after they come out of the ultimate. Good luck getting out of it. If you can time well as well, when they flash out and then you pop ultimate, you can basically pull them from their flash position because they've got some super janky mechanics that way. So if you do ult them and your animation goes off, in like the second phase, then there's no way you're getting away. You have the Malphite, and you will have the new pickup by LLeague next. Malphite, again, it's just great for the initiation. He's super strong top lane. You also see him in the jungle as well. Great ganks again when you hit 6. It could be a jungle actually, because if you have a Skarner jungle, okay, his early ganks are super strong if you get them off. If you come in from behind the opponent and actually start landing one of the auto attacks, if you had red buff, or if you land a Q into another Q which will actually land you the slow, then he does have strong early ganks. But if they're looking to be more defensive, they can kind of kite them around, maybe with a Nunu pick bottom as well. Possibly could be top. Very difficult really for that Skarner to close. And Malphite against the same power when Skarner does. So maybe when Skarner hits 6, then he can start counter ganking if he's got the game sense, and he can just stop those ganks from happening. And that would also make a lot of sense if that's what they're thinking. Urgot pickup, that is interesting. Have not seen an Urgot for a while. Urgot is like a lane bully, a lot like Yorick. But we generally don't see him anymore. We generally see like a lot of other AD carries, but because Ezreal is pretty much the other AD carry and the rest of them are all kind of similar at the moment, I guess putting the Urgot down there and they're really looking to draw home this sort of mid-game early win. Last game it went on to an hour, didn't quite go to expected, but they did start building really janky things, and Urgot will maybe help them out in that mid-game sort of presence, because Blitzcrank again is high mobility, so is Skarner as well, looking for that control jungler. Gragas is high mobility, and the Ashe as well, good initiation. Ashe is more of a late-game scaler, along with Malphite. Nunu also will help Ashe stay in contention in that lane. Down the bottom, what Nunu allows you to do is stay in contention with like a weaker laner. The synergy between Nunu as well, because you'll have Nunu and Ashe, is that you have the slow and then you have like the attack speed reduction as well. Basically, if the enemy team loses the enemy bot lane loses the trade, then they can just follow with even more pain, because you're trying to escape while you have like all of that AD damage coming onto you. Okay, so the next pickup will be Shen and Katarina. Shen super strong with that late game scaling, split pushing ability, also strong in lane, pretty difficult to push out, and the Shen as well with the global ability with the Stand United, very difficult to really engage on your opponents when it comes into those skirmishes. And Katarina in that mid lane again is very interesting, but I suppose after the waiting for some of those picks, they have the hard CC from Gragas with that knockback, they have the hard CC for Malphite. But those are sort of like initiation CCs. And same with Lee Sin as well, they picked this one up. So basically Katarina can wait for those CCs to go off, and then she can jump in with the Death Lotus and follow up with some more damage. She's really not going to feel the effect of those massive CCs. So generally, she should be good to go, unless she doesn't get caught in like a full Nunu ultimate early game. But kind of an interesting pickup. Generally, if you are going to pick Katarina, then you are going to pick her last anyway. And I'm surprised if Lee Sin's going to be... Well, Lee Sin could be top and so could Malphite. So I'm surprised he didn't go with something that was just like massive CC. And Alistar is still open as well, so like Alistar could have been a potential jungle pick as well. How many times can I say as well? Like I get into this weird sort of rut where I'm just like, oh, I have this word, I'll utilize it like 7 times in the next 2 sentences. So 30 seconds left, and we will have Lee Sin in the jungle. So Malphite will be top. Take a look at this. Malphite versus Shen. Fairly passive lane, like no one's really going to kill each other because neither of them, they do have damage and they have like a significant poke, but they don't really have enough to just straight up kill the opponent. Maybe a 6, but I see that as a fairly passive lane, more of a farm lane than anything. And then Kerp on Katarina. Let's take a look at Katarina's runes, in fact. So it's always nice to see how the pros do it. And also as Katarina, because Katarina is kind of interesting pick. So let's see how he's running that one. 15 ability power flat, 12 magic resist, 175 health at level 18, and 8.5 magic pen on those marks. That's what I'm looking for. 21 and 9 goes straight down to Executioner with all those AP masteries, and going to Veteran Scars as well for the additional health. And let's take a look at someone on LLeague. So take a look at Lee Sin. A lot of ganking junglers do like to take those increased movement speed on the quintessences, but has gone for the 15 physical damage to the flat, and flat armor, and then flat magic resist as well from the glyphs and the seals. And masteries will be 921, so looking for a more tanky build this time as well. Interesting, actually, because they have the Malphite, who is kind of like a dedicated tank anyway, so interesting that they're going to have 2 raw tanks, but it looks like I protect the Ashe comp anyway. Just to draw your attention to the front page of the 4PL website, the fifth article is the raffle for the Sennheiser, I hope I pronounced that right, X320 headset. So go ahead, check that out, and if you want to be in contention to win that headset, then answer the question, I deserve to win a Sennheiser X320 headset for Xbox 360, because, and answering the questions in the answer, what am I saying, in the comments below, and you'll have a chance to win that. So as we come down to 1 minute 45, we are going to jump to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we will be in game between Luna and LLeague. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back, guys, to round 2 of today's tournament. I am Pulse. I'm not joined by anyone. We have the bottom team once again being blue team, which is always a blue team, but what I mean to say is they are Luna, they are still the blue team, and we have LLeague in the purple team. Looking potentially to have another epic game after we have the 1 hour slugfest in that round 1. And pings coming down already from the purple team. Pings, yeah, lots of pings. What are they looking to do? I guess they're looking to fan out. They're probably expecting an invade from Blitzcrank. But last time they invaded, it just didn't go well, because they went to that blue buff and they just got initiated on because the enemy team played it really well. They was like, okay, well, we probably know that they're going to go for that invade. So they waited until at least one person recalled, went for that 5 versus 4, and then picked up the first blood. And LLeague Kirby has been picked up. The Shadow Dash will miss, but Kirby following up as well, and there will be the pickup by Katarina, following up with that Shumpo. And that'll be first blood. That's going to be really nasty because that will allow Katarina to really transition well into that mid game where Katarina is pretty much strongest. So we've got LLeague, well, the rest of the team of LLeague down at bottom, just defending that area. But really, the enemy team of Luna will really not go for that invade. They don't really need to. They've gotten the first blood. They just can back off. They've got the assist gold and just go into their normal routes. So enemy ward has gone down. That purple ward has gone down onto the sort of Wraiths area, so they'll have a lot of information from that. If he's ganking mid, they'll know. If they're going into the red buff and then for a bottom gank, again, they'll know. Nicod looking to invade these golems, but he's pushing them back and potentially stopping them from taking it. He's just, the threat of Ashe being there with the crit arrow and the volley is allowing them to basically force them back. Even 1 versus 2 with Nunu helping. That was very scary right there, because you basically had the chance for Blitzcrank to get the pull off, but he didn't actually go with it. I suppose they had no real CC, and at level 1, Urgot really doesn't have anything. So they did actually stop them from picking up that big golem, which will stop them from hitting level 2 faster. And level 2 is really where Urgot is just incredibly strong, because he gets the Noxian corrosive charge into the Acid Hunters. And I need to refresh my memory on all the janky names of Urgot's skills, because they are indeed very janky. So Frogger's going to go onto those Wraiths. Lenkovic still on that red buff. Gotta be careful there. We will be picking that up immediately into Tempest Cripple. Picking that up before Skana actually gets there, and we'll probably be going bottom for that gank, but it's unlikely for them towards that tri-bush. Rocket will have seen that red buff. Call would have been made. And I think they should be safe, because the fact that the red buff is gone kind of means like, okay, we're around that area, might as well be defensive, and bot lane's pushing as well, so you really can't go for this. And this is a kind of scary position for Ashe. She's got the Blood Boil, so as I was saying before, the Nunu pick really allows those late game carries to stay in contention in that laning phase. Actually, Lenkovic landing that Q, a lot of damage coming in that upfront burst as well from the Tempest, and that's just a bit of lane harass for that Gragas, and just jumping in. A nice juke as well from Curb, just landing some more damage. And the Gragas is pretty low on mana right now. He's down to about 95. He does have the Drunken Rage as well, so he will be able to sustain himself. Rock coming in, just landing an auto attack as Gragas run away. Lenkovic coming in from the side though, does have that red buff, looking to land the Q. Good juke by Frogget, who will be safe and sound. Curb also around the area. Curb's really just trying to get to level 6, but he does have a lot of early game harass now. That's the thing with Katarina. She's very different. Like, now her early game damage, like pre-6, is actually pretty good. She actually has some sort of kill potential, whereas before she pretty much had nothing, and it was all centered around that ultimate. That being said, the ultimate does bring some damage, but it's not as significant as it was before. We do have Lenkovic moving up top, but yeah, probably not going to be able to get this gank up. There's a ward there, and the defensive nature of Inversheep's movements just tells him, yeah, there's no way it's going to happen. He'll just go ahead and recall. The fact that he's recalling in that bush does kind of some more pressure onto Inversheep, because he doesn't quite know whether he's still there. But give it like 20 seconds or so, and he'll be like, okay, he's probably gone by now, and he can just go back to his normal pattern of movement. Meanwhile, at bottom, we have Ashe kind of facing off against Urgot, not being too aggressive at the moment, kind of surprising. Like, Urgot can do a lot of damage. He's like very high on mana as well. I guess he's just waiting for the initiate from Dexter. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. He's just juking to the side, but I actually pulled the minion. So I guess he's just waiting for the initiate from Dexter, so he can 100% land the Noxian corrosive charge. That goes into those Acid Hunters as they try to run away. That would make a lot of sense to me. Even so, he can just afford to do a bit of harassment. Kerp Dodgy position, Lenkovic from the side, good juke with the Shumpo. Actually lands the Q as he connects it. Curve trying to get out of here, flash goes down, and Lenkovic jumping over the wall with another flash, and also Track will finish that one off. It's well played by Kerp. Kerp basically knew if he was going to land that Q, then he needs to wait for him to connect it and then flash. But unfortunately, Lee also had the flash, so he just flashed over and picked up the kill. I'm not sure. He basically, what he wanted to do, generally when someone's coming in behind you with Katarina, you want to jump out to them, jump out to the jungler and just walk off. Maybe land the Sinister Steel as well and just run back to the turret. But she basically couldn't because he has the Tempest. So if he lands the Tempest when she jumps in with Chumpo, then he can go straight into the cripple. And then Gragas is free to land all of his skills and you're probably going to die anyway. If she had the flash, you might have been able to Chumpo and then flash. But wanted probably to conserve the flash. And that probably would have saved him, but he wasn't expecting Lee Sin to actually manage to pick up the kill, and that's kind of like, you can sympathize with that mindset, because it was kind of clutch, a clutch play from Lee. Meanwhile, top once again, don't expect anything really to go down, and let's take a look at it. 34 farm to 35, so yeah, super close. There's no real action going up there, and they've both gone for those gold profiles because they know they're in no real danger of being killed, so they might as well go for that farm lane, and the builds really are just indicative of that. In mid, we will have Kerp just shaping up against this Gragas, level 5 versus level 6, so gotta be careful, but again, she does have Shumpo, so the ult then she can Shumpo to a minion or Shumpo to a ward, which she probably will have on it. Yeah, she does, so generally, as Katarina, you don't really necessarily, in inverted commas, you don't need. Also go down by Gragas though, but that's a Shumpo, and yeah, that's Cat in a nutshell. It's like what you're going to do: you gank, and then you put her out of position. There's Shumpo, and then she's fine again. But I don't know why I said inverted commas, inverted quotation marks. You don't need to ward, but it's nice for the rest of your team because it basically means that you have the vision all over the map. And if the enemy jungler is going through the jungle, then of course you can actually see that, and then you'll be good to go for the rest of the lanes. It also helps bottom lane, it helps bot lane, helps top lane and bottom lane. But for your own personal use, you don't necessarily need to, because you can just Shumpo to the ward or Shumpo to the minion, and you're generally good to go. Katarina is very, very difficult to gank as mid champion to go, even pre-6. The Gragas is just going to pick up this blue buff as he runs out of mana, perfectly timed. And Katarina is now level 7. You know, Gragas' ultimate is off cooldown. She might be able to do something, but her best bet if she wants kills is to run to a different lane. Because on Gragas it's fairly difficult, because Gragas has the counter initiation with that body flop, as I like to call it. Lee Sin jumping over the wall, moving onto that red, but pulling it into the brush, and Radox is actually going to see that minion wailing on Lee. He's going to just ward jump over the wall and he will be good to go. Noxian Curse charge goes over the wall, but not granting the vision, and he will be backing off. Gonna just get able to pick up that red. So he had that timer from when he took it at the start, but the enemy team was just basically in position to stop them from actually getting that done. And Bashu taking some harass from Lee Kirby, but Kirby isn't, like, he is pretty much out of mana, and yeah, he's not really fearing the worst. The thing with the Shen matchup, like, he will be able to sustain himself, and you're just watching them bump heads for a little while, and nothing's really going to come from. They don't really have kill potential on each other because they don't really have that much burst, especially with Malphite being really orientated towards that armor. Shen does a decent amount of magic damage, but it's just not enough to cut through that health and the Granite Shield as well. He's actually going to go for the initiation for the Shadow Dash, but it's not going to actually kill him. Like, he's only chunked him down maybe by 5% HP at most. So as long as you can just do the damage, like, if you harass them, it's going to force him to back off. And Machip's actually going to go into the bush. He knows Frogger's coming in from the side. Stop from what goes down. Frogger lands one Q. Impale goes down. Machip tries to get out of there. Feint has been popped. Lykovic is ticking down with the Ignite, picking up that kill from Shen. Now Lee Kirby in a dodgy position as Frogger chases after him. He's pretty much out of mana though. He's still able to spam those Qs on very low mana cost. And he's just stutter stepping with that red buff, able to pick up that kill. And Frogger also coming in to potentially just get the assist, but he just leaves with the XP. Yeah, well played by Frogger. He's actually gone with the mobility boost as well, hasn't gone for the gold per 5, so he's looking for this heavy gank route now that he's 6, and with that Impale able to do a lot of work for his team. With his auto attacks as well, he's just able to get his Impale down very, very quickly. It's on a 1 minute 30 cooldown, but that's, in reality, it's more like less than a minute because he's going to be auto-attacking the jungle a lot, so he's going to be able to gank fairly shortly, and with as much threat as he as he exerted on top. So he's going to recall, took up that red buff as well from Lee. That's fairly significant because Lee kind of, like, he doesn't need the red buff, but he really likes it because his Tempest Triple is a slow, and then he has the follow up with his Q and to a W if he manages to get to a minion or an ally as well. But like, he likes the red so he can stick to them because he's weaving those auto attacks in between his skills anyway. So that's kind of a big hit, not too massive. Like, Lee Sin is still going to be able to gank with not too many problems, but it's also going to allow Skarner to have more presence in the jungle. And also those buffs are a lot of XP as well, so that's also taking that away from Lee Sin. He's probably going to go for this lane gank at bottom. He can just easily W to one of his allies and then connect a Q. Going with the Tempest Cripple, significant slow, volley goes down, will be tagging Dexter, good juke from that crystalline arrow. Still following after with the frost shot, lands the Q from Likovic, and looking for the knockback, will be knocked back. And he's in the Nunu ultimate. Dexter also following in, along with Frocket from the side, in with Shen as well. 4 versus 1 situation. What's the Nunu going to do? Frocket, Impale goes down, and you are very dead, sir. And we will have Kerp and Gragas coming in from the north. He's kind of just sending him away. He really can't trade with Kerp. Kerp's just going to wait with his ultimate. He's not going to just straight up ultimate, and that will be the easy joke. He has left top lane exposed because he used Stand United, and that will be, he will be losing XP and gold. He will be bleeding that, but he probably can't push down the turret because Malphite is not renowned for his turret pushing ability. Doesn't have a lot of ED. It doesn't really have a lot of AP either. You could just kind of auto attack it for a bit, but it's not really that significant. And Shen will probably be easily up there in time to stop that push. That's what I mean. It's very difficult for someone to initiate in these skirmishes this early onto the game, especially when Inbashib has that level 6. It's level 9 right now, and also when you have Shen in the lane, he's going to get Shen United way earlier as well. He's actually exerting a lot of damage onto Kirby right now. Probably won't be able to kill him, but he's actually trading off against him very well. Fink goes down as well. He will pick up the kill, but he's actually trading off better, meaning over time, he will eventually push Kirby out and bring him into kill potential, and Kirby will realize this and be forced back off. Dexter just constantly trying to land those hooks, and Radix can follow up after them. So Kerp, meanwhile mid, again, is kind of farming until Gragas initiates on him, and that's generally not going to happen because he wants to save his ultimate from when Kerp engages on him. So it's kind of like both of them want the other person to engage, but neither of them will, and Lekovic actually jumping onto Kirby at top with the safeguard into Dragon's Rage as well. Imbishi trying to get it out there. Does have the Shadow Dash, juking through them. Lekovic landing the Q, and that will be a kill for Kirby. Picking that up with his Ignite. And meanwhile mid, they're just bumping heads again. So another kill has gone down, 6 and 2 right now, so they have reclaimed a kill. They're about 4k ahead. They're in a good position. Game is not over, but they are drawing ahead, and they might be able to snowball that advantage into more kills, more pushing power, convert it into one team fights. But it's still pretty early on to the game. It's about 13 minutes. Drake could be a thing. When Drake comes up, we could see a Drake fight. But until the first tower really falls, we won't really see too much roaming, too many small skirmishes. Purely because when a tower falls, it means the laner can just leave. And Kerp actually going to go past Lekovic, jumping onto him with Sinister Steel, getting the increase in movement speed. Now following up with the Q, but yeah, he doesn't really have the damage to melt Katarina before someone can react, and he really doesn't want to go past that river line, because if he does, then Frog is going to be in range to get something done, popping the exoskeleton, but probably not going to get the Impale off. Greg's on very low mana right now. If he'd landed that Impale, then Kerp would have been able to get the ultimate off without fear of being interrupted, because obviously the interrupt will be coming from that Gragas ultimate. But Lee was in the area as well. I don't think his ultimate's up right now because he used it before. No, it's not up. So yeah, he would have been able to do a lot of damage and felt with a lot of pain. Once again, top just carrying on bumping heads. Not too much happening there. And bottom lane, still waiting for those hooks. I haven't felt that bottom lane has been that aggressive and has really played their picks. But that being said, he's got 4 assists, and they've gotten to, he's been assisting enough where he's really strong. And he's gone for the Brutalizer. Brutalizer is kind of the item you go when you're snowballing, or in Gragas' case, in Urgot's case, you kind of go to anyway because he just likes all the stats in it. You get the armor penetration he likes, and the attack speed, and the cooldown reduction on those outer hunters. Everything from it he enjoys. He doesn't really want to build it into a Ghostblade though, because there's no real point with Gragas, because Ghostblade only worked on melee attacks. It only extends the duration on melee attacks, and he is definitely not melee. We will have Gragas popping the ultimate onto Katarina, but again, Kerp still has that ultimate and the damage potential. Frocker coming in from the side. Shumpo goes down as well. We'll be slowing him for a second. with that gunblade, and he has been impaled. Curb looking to follow up some damage, has been immediately interrupted though. Now jumping back in with Sinister Steel from the Chumpo with the reduced damage. Ash also there though, forcing the flash from Curb. And they will be backing off. Curb really couldn't engage in that, he couldn't keep that engaged. He's going to probably just... Oh wow, is he actually trying to make some plays onto Gragas? He might ward jump. But he doesn't have the Chumpo onto Gragas anyway, so just going to wait for a little while and just clear those wraiths. Mid, I'm not convinced he could probably hold off those two, but especially, well, with Skarner's help, you probably could. And Ash is going to hawk it, and you probably will be good to go. Frogget does not have the ultimate, he just used it. And the counter initiation from Roldo is just very difficult really to contend with. Just trying to think how to pronounce that Gragas' name. Like Finati. Like Finity? Finity. That's what I call Infinity, but that being said, Ash being absolutely blown up, going down to about 5% HP from Curb and Dexter, probably from a pull, I didn't quite see it, but yeah, you can just see the burst straight up, and with Ash not able to really interrupt Katarina's ultimate, apart from with the ultimate, and she doesn't have it because she used it earlier, so yeah, very, very dodgy situation, but did have the flash to keep herself safe. Those Blitzcrank pulls will really help them in this sort of sieging scenario, and where they're trying to push this early and mid-game victory, because obviously you get those picks and then you can convert the picks into sieging. And yeah, that's why Blitzcrank really works in those types of compositions. Take a look at the... Okay, Lee's coming mid, but probably not going to get that kill onto Curb anyway. Take a look at the compositions of the item build. So with Ash, pretty standard, actually going with the BF sword. Meanwhile, mid, Affinity popping down the ultimate, like a Vic going in for the ward jump. Sandy nicely comes down onto Curb as well. Knocked back, so Imbersheep is not in range, and Lee Sin actually near that turret. Vic's just trying to draw them away from the Gragas, but it's not going to be enough. And Frogget in with a killing spree, another kill for Imbersheep as well. 2 for 0 trade. And can they convert this into anything? Nothing's really pushing, but they can probably just steal Lenkovic's lunch money from his jungle, so bit push might happen. They didn't really have a lot of pushing power though. They have the sieging from Urgot, but he's fairly close range. They're really good at roaming, and they are building up this small advantage, so they might actually just build up the advantage to the point where they'll actually go for their team fights, which seems quite likely to me, but they have this type of team where they can stay in laning phase as long as possible and just get these picks. Kirby's going to come down to mid, Radok's coming down there as well, popping down the hyper-connecting reverser. Nico being absolutely destroyed. Ultimate comes down from Roldo, in with a crystalline arrow. Dexter from the side, and following with those auto attacks. He really can't trade with him now. There's no way Nunu's really going to kill him, and now he's actually going into the brush. Radok's still following up with those auto attacks, but the fact that he's being so aggressive is indicative of someone on his way, especially Lee Sin actually connecting the Q into the resonating strike, picking up that kill. Curb coming in from the side, and Rocket from the rear. Thinking the best way to phrase that. Look at Vic over the wall, will be ward jumping. Rocket also around there though, connecting the Q, will be jumping away from him. And do they have anyone to follow up? That is probably a no. And Frogget just trying to land that, land the Impale, which he does not have, so he's just trying to push them away. Blue buff has spawned, and they will have seen it. Yep, that's going to stop Kurt from recalling and Dexter. But they have the timer on that. Bouncing Blaze goes down, massive damage, and the ultimate goes in as well, along with the Dragon's Rage. Actually connects the Q. Mechavic really wants to get in range for that. It jumps to Ash, who's conveniently nearby, and Katarina will be picked up along with the Lee Sin. 1-for-1 trade. Frogget now on the rampage. All goes down by Ash, maintaining vision. Dexter trying to get out there. He will have his W up very soon. There it is. But he has been tagged by the volley though, applying that flush shot effect, and then Finessy will be picking it up with a fantastically timed barrel roll. Frogget around the area, he's got the smite. He basically doesn't want them to go for that Drake. However, Imbersheep has face-checked the brush, will be popping over the wall. The Shadow Dash has been hit by the slows though. And there's the flash into unstoppable force. Imbersheep also forced the flash. Following after with that volley, Radok's coming in from the side. They want to get out of this turret dive as soon as possible. Frogget also around the area. He should have his ultimate up by now, but he doesn't want to waste it on Roldo, who is 100% dead. Kirby also around the area will be picking up the minion, who is valiantly following him into the enemy jungle. Frogget will be popping down the ultimate. There it is, pulling him back into his own jungle. We'll have Katarina coming in from the south, Radok's coming in from the north. Kirby looking to juke this out. He knows the impending doom. We'll be chaining up those slows as well from that Q. Nikod has actually found Rodux. Sunday United has been popped by Shen, but they're trying to pick up the skill before he comes in. Embassy will be picking that all up. 1-for-1 trade. Now tanking Infinity, who is pretty much no mana at this point. Dexter coming in as well for the CC. Meanwhile, they picked up the kill onto that Malphite, who was eventually dropped. Lekovic trying to ward jump into that ward. And Embersheep also following up. Embersheep will have his Shadow Dash in 1 second, there it is, landing the Q, but it's not enough to keep him alive, and Feint will keep him healthy while he tanks that turret hit. So 3-for-1 trade so far, and whether they can convert this into a push, this is pretty likely. You can probably pick up mid-turret. I wouldn't expect a Baron. It's a bit too early for a Baron, and they're pretty much out of mana. And the sustained damage, that being from Relix's back at base. So Dexter and Kerp just going to invade the enemy jungle. And that blue is still up. that fight that happened around blue, no one even picked up blue. Affinity around that area, Affinity X. Wall goes down, they know they're at blue, looking for that body slam. Will be juking, that Deathfire Grass goes down as well into the explosive cask. Roldo trying to catch up, ward jump from Kerp, and now Dex is probably going to bite the dust. There it is. Rana coming in from the side, will be connecting the Acid Hunters with that lock. Kerp over the wall, he is looking to get something done. In with the ultimate, huge damage coming on to Roldo. There's the double kill. Knockout will be chaining up with the unstoppable force from Malphite, keeping him safe during that engage. Rocket's now been tagged by those frost shots with the auto attacks. Kirby looking to dive this. He has the armor to keep himself alive, while Lekovic comes from the side with the safeguard. Just wants to chime with the assist more than anything. This is a dead Scorpion. 4-for-2 trade from the aggressive position. That was an invade that they really didn't want. They wanted to move for that blue buff so they could punish them, but they were quickly reverse punished by LLeague, who predicted it would happen. So Imbishi gonna go ahead and push top. The rest of his team has fallen, and he knows they're probably at Drake right now. So with the Drake spawn happening, he might as well push top because he's not really in any fear of being stopped. Nunu's on his way along with Gragas, but he might be able to deal some damage to the turret. It's probably safer just to back off. Like, he's gonna see Nunu, and there's pretty close. It's pretty obvious someone's pretty close behind. And yeah, he's gonna pick up the red buff. Gotta be careful though, because Roldo is there with Affinity X. The wall goes down. Into explosive cask, keeping him away from that wall. Deathfire Grasp as well. Wall goes down for the ward jump just so he can connect the Tempest Cripple. And they will be backing off. So Kirby will be landing the cheese wheel onto Kerb. Since it still goes down, increased movement speeds. Dexter coming from the side as well. Just, again, bumping heads. Let's take a look at the item build. So we have Ashe with the BF Sword and the Pickaxe, looking for that Infinity Edge first. And got the double Doran's Blade, so she probably has enough sustain right now. Let's take a look at her lifesteal. 9% lifesteal, so she's got the lifesteal on the double Doran's and the Masteries as well. So she's pretty healthy. She could have got the Vamp Step as well. Nice pull from Dexter, pulling that blue from the wall. Pick that up pretty easily. As Kirby is around the corner, Kirby will be getting that ultimate pretty soon. He's got the Unstoppable Force in around 5 seconds, so they could potentially go for that team fight, but he's very low mana and he's about 75% HP. Wants to be healthy when he goes for that initiate. Okay, so Katarina will have that Hextech Gunblade, got the Cage's Lucky Pick as well, so she's looking for the Deathfire Grass perhaps. Could make some sense. Yep, there's the Fire Grass, immediately picked up Glacial Shroud and the Brutalizer from Urgot, and the BF Sword. So generally this is the standard build. You want the Bloodthirster from Urgot, you want the Frozen Heart, and you want the Brutalizer just as it is, generally as one of his first items, and double Dorans is always nice to have. Got the Mercury Chest because he's like an anti-AD carry. He's not like a straight up AD carry, but he's more like a bruisery AD carry, and he can really shut people down. So he wants to that extent be fairly tanky. This guy going to go with a standard support build. Got the Aegis already. Just have the Wit End on the Shen. Increased attack speed. Shen really lags as well because his eyes has buff his key strike with his passive. Got the Phage for the slowdown. Probably going for the Trinity Force, which is kind of interesting. Don't usually see that all the time with Shen. Usually he's a straight up tank, but I guess he's going bruised this game because he has a kind of straight tank in the form of Skarner. They are trying to kill Imbaship. This will happen in the near future. He will be popping over the wall. Q did connect, so Lenkovic also around that area. He's kind of stalling for the rest of his allies to arrive. Up also around that area. Flash by Frogget. Cheech Will goes down into Unstoppable Force. And the TX is not... If Hale goes down, in fact, Kerp trying to get out of there. He realizes Lenkovic. He's forced to pop the ultimate. Frogget also going to drop in a couple seconds. And that was a 3-for-0 trade. Really well played. Just kited around by LLeague. And these small skirmishes, like there's 3 versus 3, but they're just getting caught in bad positions. Got a 2 versus 2 at bottom, but they've got to be careful because the rest of the enemy team is still up, alive and kicking. 2 versus 5 right now, but yeah, okay, so Gragas is going to recall. Radix has got to be careful, like he can probably push in this bottom lane, but he can't do much more than that. So he's got to be careful not to be blindsided. That being said, they have like wards everywhere in the enemy jungle. They are still about 6k ahead, so they're not losing the game, they are significantly ahead. But the fact that they're getting in these team fights, they would be further ahead, but these small skirmishes just aren't really paying off for them. And I'm not really sure if they're going to actually go for these straight-up team fights, because they like these small skirmishes where they can have like the split pushing from Shen, because Shen's always just going to be a great split pusher with Stand United, and he's just tanky as well. Very difficult to duel him. And good pull straight onto Nikod. Massive damage coming out from Radox, and he did actually connect the corrosive charge, who's following up with his Acid Hunters. So good pick onto Ashe. Not have that warded. So they might be able to do something with that, but they're not going to group up. Really, their strategy right now really does look like these skirmish fights, and I guess their team composition really does like it, because you have the Shen who likes split pushing, we've already spoken about that. You have the Skarner as well, who's great with that ultimate, and then he can be pinned down by the rest of his team, kind of good in team fights and seeding scenarios as well, actually. I got really like those small skirmishes because he's very tanky, outputs a lot of damage. In a team fight, he can be very easily focused down, but in skirmishes, he's just very tanky. What you need for skirmishes is really good duelists, and they do have good duelists. Like Skarner is a great duelist, and Katarina is more team fights as well because of his ultimate only affects like 3 people, or 3 people in the closest vicinity, or jump over the wall from Kerp, keeping himself alive. Deathfire Gloss goes into the body flop as well. Dexter missing the hook. Kerp actually popping down the ultimate. Sanyite goes down into the unstoppable force from Malphite. Frogger coming in from the north along with Roll though. 3 versus 4 situation. Raz coming in from the south as well. They realise that this is dead, and they're just going to donate that to Gragas. I want Gragas to get those kills before. Well, Gragas doesn't straight off fall off, doesn't like scale off, but he likes to stay in contention where he's got a lot of kills and he can really transition well into that mid game where he's strongest. He's 8-2 right now, and he's got the Abyssal Scepter as well, which kind of makes sense. He is long range with that ultimate, but he can afford to get in melee range because he's a fairly tanky AP carry anyway. So that is really going to benefit him. On the rest of his team, he has Malphite as well, so when Malphite initiates, he can just body flop in, pop the ultimate, and pop the barrel roll as well, and it'll pretty much affect Abyssal Scepter. If he gets in as well, while Malphite is ulting, that's also going to affect the Unstoppable Force, which is of course magic damage as well. So he really likes that. In mid, it would just be body flopping away. Very, very difficult to pin down a Gragas unless you have hard CC. If you have the Blitz pull-in, you have to be careful. You need to get the CC on him as soon as possible, because he can just immediately body flop away and there's very little he can do to follow up. So take a look at the other item builds. Wriggle's Lantern, very common on Lee Sin. We've got the Sustain. It's also really nice, so you can just ward and then obviously jump to it. Always nice to have wards on Lee Sin at all times. Malphite's going to go for the Abyssal Scepter as well. Maybe just in case, well, it gives him the sustain in team fights because the enemy team does have a lot of AP damage, and I guess Gragas isn't always going to be in that position to have that passive around that passive aura. Actually, in down bottom, probably just going to back off now. Ashe has finished her finish here, also picking up that seal as well. So AD carries will get scary when it transitions into the late game, because basically their items are, like, apply to each other multiplicatively. Oh, that's... I don't even know if I pronounced that right. That's in my own little language. But anyway, so they get really strong. Basically, with AP carriers, they're additive. So they're strong in mid game, but AD carriers, just when they get free items, they will basically just do huge amounts of damage. They peak late game, but the AP carriers peak mid game. Electrovic could be potentially caught by Kerp. Has been catch that Gunblade did, but Ward Jump will keep him safe. Right now, 28 minutes into the game. They do have the advantage. 3 towers down, 2 towers down from LLeague. Luna Gaming, kind of moving around that Drake area. Drake is up, rather. Kirby coming in from the side will be finding himself an enemy team. They're not doing too much damage to him, though. They are looking for this engage. They want them to group up so Malphite can land the perfect ultimate, and they want everyone to be in range. They have a lot of healing from Ashe, but she's 0, 4, and 7. She does a lot of damage, as all the AD carries do, but she's not at that perfect AD carry stage. She's just been kind of stopped from getting to that point. Grax, however, is doing really well, so they do have the mid-game damage that they need, and they can just pretty much wait it out until Ashe gets to that late-game phase. Okay, so we do have Shen going to the top. It's kind of like they are sacrificing that Drake, unless Frogger can pull off some sort of Korean smite steal. Yeah. Wall goes down. This is a Dragon Con. They're pretty scared of them right now. They don't want to go for that team fight because they know Gragas has got that team fight split up, and they don't really want that to happen. Like, they have good duelists, but they don't feel that they're stronger than them right now, despite the gold advantage. It's too close, really, for comfort, and Shen's gonna go top. They are in the enemy jungle, and there's the Unstoppable Force from Kirby, aggroing the Baron, Gragas coming in with the ultimate. Frogger has been caught. Body flop goes down, picking up that kill, bringing him to unstoppable. Ember Sheep from the side along with Kerp. This will be the Baron attempt. Kerp has around 40% HP. Does have the ultimate. Dexter from the side pulling him and he's body flopping in. Radux from the side popping down the ultimate. Ember Sheep also zoning 3 people out. Chasing after him. He's fairly tanky at this stage. Absolute Zero comes down. Kerp coming in from the side as well, popping down the ultimate. Got the resets on the skills, getting that kill. That's been picked up. There's a killing spree. Radux now following up onto after them. Grags on very low health. Bodyfall goes in to finish him off. Will be picked up in turn. Kirby will be flashing out of that Shadow Dash, keeping himself alive for a couple seconds. Will they be able to catch up? We will have Dexter looking to land that Power Fist. Shadow Dash will land into the knockup as well. As time goes down, has got the movement speed reduction and the movement speed increase, but Blitzcrank will be able to land that pull into the Power Fist. I think that was static charge picking up that kill as well. So they will be stopping them from getting that Baron. And whether they'll follow up, I'm not too sure. Gotta be careful though. Like 3-manning Baron when they don't have Urgot up, which is basically the sustained damage. Pretty risky. Ashe does have her arrow in, let's have a look, 9 seconds. We'll probably pop that off. They won't finish it in 9 seconds, so she'll pop that off that ultimate. Lee Sin will be around that area. This is going to be tight. This is going to be really, really tight. If they pull this off, it's going to be amazing. Down to about 20% HP right now. They have hawked it. They know they're there. Arrow goes down. They have picked up the Baron. It's basically casualty control. Pulling comes from Dexter, blocking up for a couple seconds. Into the Impale as well. We'll be picking up that kill onto sustained damage. Curve coming in from the side, mopping up the mess though. With the Sins of Steel. Double kill for Skarner. Looking to follow up. Wall jump goes on to Lenkovic, but he's still in a bad position. There's no one to jump to. You can't double wall jump. Ultimate has been popped by Rodux, drawing Finity X into a bad position. Following up with that slow from his passive. Rocket looking to get those slows onto him. Didn't connect the first Q. Kerp will be flashing it into the Hextech Gunblade, and the Sinister Steel will be able to finish him off with a couple more auto attacks. There we go. That was a 4-for-0 trade. That was a really good call from Luna Gaming. They went for that Baron, picked it up before they got there. Ashe was immediately picked up by the CC from the Shadow Dash straight into that Impale, and she just couldn't escape from it. Ashe hasn't got the sustained damage really that they need. Gragas is reaching that stage where he's Gragas and he's kind of scaling off. He's gone for the Abyssal Scepter, so he's got a lot of mid-game presence, but he hasn't got the Death Cap just yet. We'll be picking it up fairly soon. But he can't just like give the entire team like he could before. Like everyone's getting fairly tanky at this stage, and they need Ashe to be outputting that damage. But because she's 0, 6, and 10, he's got pretty decent farm, but it's not enough to keep herself as that sustained damage source. And even if she was, then they're able to lock it down very, very quickly. They do have that protect the Ashe comp. They have like the Lee Sin for the peeling along with Kirby, but it's like how are they going to utilize those ultimates? And so far they've been utilizing ultimates very aggressively. So if they're going to utilize those ultimates defensively, then they have to basically wait for those engages and push them off of Ashe. Luna's really good as a peeler, but yeah, whether they want to wait for late game or they want to carry on pushing the advantage that they could potentially have now. The problem is the enemy team just picked up Baron and they had a really good team fight. So the best option right now is probably to wait for late game and get Ashe all the farm she can so they can start protecting her. Gragas is probably going to scale off in damage late game anyway. He will get his death cap, so there's going to be a large increase in damage anyway. Witch Staff will be popping up fairly soon as well. So he still has a potential to have another couple peaks in him, but Ashe really is a deciding factor for the team right now. They need Ashe to be strong, and they need her to be farming constantly. That being said, Gragas is just trying to steal the farm from her. Keeps putting those explosive casts on, but she needs to farm, and I think they need to recognize that. Right now, Katarina is very scary. She's got the Abyssal Scepter, which is kind of a no-brainer. She's going to be in melee range, so she's got that the range from Abyssal Scepter. I think is about 600 range. Let's take a look. Oh no, we can't. Can we in spectator mode? It's about 600 range, so she's in range for all of her abilities anyway. There's a flash from Frogger into the Unstoppable Force. He has used that defensively. Cheese Wheel goes down, increasing their movement speed and reducing it from Rocket. Ashe Arrow comes down from Kirby. He doesn't have the initiate though. He's used the Unstoppable Force, but Finity X popping the ultimate down with the explosive cast. Rocket on Stand United has been popped by Shen as he comes down bottom. Katarina is still top, however. Shadow Dash lands on all 4 of them, popping over the wall. We picked up immediately. Absolute Zero not able to do anything though. Neko trying to get out of there as Ember Sheep is on his face, but the healing ability will keep him alive. He's trying to pick up the kill, getting the key burst on, not gonna happen. Key Strike was not able to connect. Great kiting ability, but meanwhile top, Katarina is able to reclaim a turret. 2 kills for a turret, kinda even right now, but they've got to be careful because Because if any more of them get picked off, then they can turn this into a push. Then we see X actually being caught by Radox's kinetic reverser into Impale as well. Will be duking out of the Acid Hunter. Butterflop goes down as well into the Hextech Gunblade. They will be picking up that kill very, very quickly. Now turning the attention to Kirby, who is being slowly chunked down by Froggett, and Radox chiming in as well. Kirby slain. Rollo meanwhile atop. Bash over the wall will keep him alive. But he's had to use his 2 main initiate as escapes. This is not what they want. Now they're on the defensive, they're in a worse position. And once again, as I've kept on saying, Ash is not in a position to deal the damage that they need. And now Luna is just converting this into a really strong push. They know they're ahead, and they know what the enemy team needs to keep themselves in contention, and they just don't have it. Ash needs to get strong, they don't have it. The enemy team, they're having to use all their ultimate defensively, and they can't really initiate anyway. So either way, they're going to have to use their ultimates defensively, and they don't have the damage and the substance behind the CC to actually really do anything. That's the predicament they're facing. They didn't have any sustained damage. Like, Ash has some damage, but he doesn't have the Last Whisper. And with the enemy team all itemizing like a lot of armor right now, we've got 249 from Urgot. Frog has got 200. We have Imber Sheep with 121. And who else have we got? We've got Blitzcrank 124 as well. Everyone's super tanky on that team, basically. Probably Kerp, who probably wouldn't be itemizing, but has actually gone for the Haunting Guys. Wow. So we've got the Abyssal Scepter and the Haunting Guys. So he's got minus 40 MR on that penetration. Let's take a look at the whole lot. So it's got the spell penetration 49 and then 10% as well. That might be from masteries. I'm not entirely sure if the Abyssal Scepter counts as the penetration, because it's an aura. Because Abyssal Scepter can actually take people below 0 magic resist. Because it is an aura, it reduces them by a flat amount rather than straight up penetration. So if that's true, that is 49 spell penetration, not including the Abyssal Scepter. So that's like 70 flat reduction on the magic resist. Let's take a look at the enemy team. 166, 114, 132, 56 on Ash, and then 100 on Nunu. So dealing more than true damage to Ash, and reducing a lot on the enemy team as well. Just really looking for that mid-game build. If you go for the flat penetration, you are looking for that strong mid-game orientated build. Kirby just picking up those Wraiths, and once again Shen is split pushing. They do have to be careful though, because they do have the split pushing power from the Shen, but they need some incentive for the enemy team to commit everyone to stopping the 4-man push from Luna. Otherwise it just doesn't make sense. Also, if Shen is trying to use Stand United on someone and they get bursted down immediately, then there's very little he can do, because, well, he's not going to be able to jump in. They've just lost another person. It turns into a 3v5 situation, and it basically comes down to how fast Shen can push. He has the Wit's End, he has more attack damage. He's got the Atmogs as well, and 24, so he does quite a lot of damage. He does, like, if you're looking for this hard split pushing, like, you'd probably go for like the Ionian Spark as well, but they do have like a lot of magic damage as well, so it kind of makes sense if they go to the Wits either way. They aren't really, they were looking for the split pushing, but right now they kind of just want the team fights. Gotta be careful though, because Ash really is starting to vamp up in damage. When she gets the Last Whisper, she's really going to get to that stage where she has the potential to be that sustained damage that they really need. And especially if Kerp gets caught, Arrow goes down, Kerp will be hit by the Sonic Wave. No Resonating Strike though, because he doesn't really want to commit. Dexter also being quite aggressive. And Shredders has been popped as well, probably not going to be able to catch up as he gets some sort of wizard hail. Okay, so just waiting for something to happen. Got this kind of Mexican standoff, as we often have in these situations. Okay, so they're actually starting Baron. They have the sustain, they have the feint from Shen as well, so they can pretty much tank this forever and really take no damage. Down to about 60% at the moment, pulling in Gragas into the Impale as well, not able to use explosive cards, popping over the wall by Katarina, absolutely destroying Ash and Gragas. Momoto also in a bad position and just encircling them. There's another kill for Ember Sheep, following off into Lee Kirby as well. There's the double kill, 4 for what? 4 for 0 trade. Actually, Dexter managing to survive that mana shield, keeping him healthy. Popping around the wall, he has actually found the Lee Sin. Good juke away from that Tempest cripple. Ember Sheep also there to zone him out. Ward has gone down, popping over that wall. And just Dragon's Rage goes down. He's just trying to keep himself alive. Pulled over the wall by Dexter, pulling him into Kerp, and there's the ace. Will they go for the Baron or will they go for the push? They can kill this Baron very, very quickly. Dexter needs to go back because when someone comes up, they can just insta-skip him with an auto attack. Bottom tower has fallen to minions. They will be finishing this Baron now. And do they want to push? That's the question. Kerr popping over the wall with that wall jump. And don't have any minions though. Shen's pushing mid. She might actually just clear that minion wave. They have 8 seconds on Nunu. They have 9 seconds on Ashe. But Katarina can pretty much blow up Ashe. She still has the ultimate because she got those kills. Of course, affecting her ferocity, meaning she gets those cooldown reductions, and she's got the Death Lotus up already. It's oh wow, actually the flat cooldown on the Death Lotus is 35.5 seconds. Kinda crazy. Rasi reduces the cooldowns by 15 seconds, so basically 2 kills equals another ultimate from Kat. She can really scale out of control. Good juke from Imbership. He's actually initiating with the Cup. Really wants to just jump onto them, get those resets. Really wants to jump onto that Ashe. Brought her down to about 60% HP. Cup wants that ultimate to happen. Let's just jump into the ultimate for the Death Lotus, tearing apart Rollo as well. Sun United has been popped, and Kirby now in a bad position. Cup still has that ultimate once again for the reset. There's the triple kill. Lenkovic will be popping the Dragon's Rage as well. Cup trying to jump back onto him for another kill, getting the quadra kill. And no Penta today, but that is the power of Kat when you get those kills. When you chain up those kills, it becomes ridiculous. And that will be the surrender vote. 40 minutes in. Luna versus LLeague, and there's the victory. Another intense game. And they really played it well. They knew when they had the ability to initiate on them and actually like win the team fights, and they actually went for them. They forced the Baron because they knew they could win the team fight. They had the spammable shield. Shen was so tanky at that stage, he really wasn't risking anything by being there. So, really well played. So, once again, we're going to jump to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we will be in round 3. See you soon, and stay tuned for more great League of Legends action.